Hi guys, and welcome back to another recipe video. Now I know it's been a while, but I've been busy with work and uni work, so I've just been focusing on streaming. So for this week I have 2 more vegan recipes coming for the final week of veganuary. So today we're going to be making a chickpea, spinach and potato curry. So we'll get into what the ingredients are and then we'll crack on. So for this recipe you're going to need 1 chopped onion, 3 cloves of garlic, a thumb-sized piece of ginger, you want a green chilli, then we'll need 400 grams of drained and rinsed chickpeas. We will need another 400 grams of some tinned chopped tomatoes. You want around 400 grams of chopped potatoes. So here we've used around 3 small potatoes. You want around 100 grams of spinach. Then you're going to need half of a lemon that's been juiced. And finally, for the spices, we are going to need ground cumin, ground turmeric, ground coriander, and then finally garam masala. These are all the ingredients we are going to need for today's dish. Okay, just to note that for this recipe we will be needing either a food processor or a blender like this one. So as long as you've got that, this recipe should be a breeze for you. So our first step, so we're going to chop an onion. It didn't say any specific way, so we're just going to go in strips. So once you've peeled the onion, you want to trim those edges off. And then we're just going to simply cut straight down. Hoping this isn't too much onion. It literally just says 1 onion, but if we feel like this is too much we can just not put it all in, so it'll be fine. So next we're going to be using 3 cloves of garlic, and you just want to make sure you've completely peeled them before you start cutting. And we're just going to start just finely chopping our garlic. Now these are going to be placed in the same bowl as the onions as well as the ginger, so don't worry about separating them too much, as these are going to make the puree. Now when it comes to a ginger, you just want to make sure you've washed it and peeled it. And then again, we're just going to be chopping it up. It says to use a thumb size, so this should hopefully not be too much. As you can tell, I'm very confident in my own actions. I'm going to put this in with everything else that we have. So now we're going to be getting into the green chilli. So the recipe specifies a green chilli, so just make sure you've sorted that out. Just want to make sure all the seeds have been removed as well. Take these and put them in the bowl with our onions, garlic and ginger. Okay, so this is probably my least favourite part of the recipe, as I am terrified I will mess this up. But what you want to do is you want to put the onion, garlic, ginger and chilli into a food processor or blender with 3 tablespoons of water, just until it's completely smooth. So we're going to get on that right now. Now just for this, we're not going to put all the onion in to start with, just in case one whole onion is too much because mine was a big onion. You're just going to attempt to get everything in, and then I'm going to hold it because I don't trust myself, and we're just going to start blending. So, seems as though that worked better than I thought. We're just going to add the rest. I can easily tip it in. There we go. So now everything else has been added, we'll continue blending until this is smooth. So once you've done, it should look a little bit like this. I'll zoom in just so you guys can see. So it's a bit green, but I guess it depends on if you use red or brown onions. I use brown. So yeah, we'll leave this to the side and we'll get on to cutting the potatoes and draining our chickpeas. Okay, so for our potatoes, we just want to chop them into chunks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep cutting them in half. Now it doesn't say whether to peel or not. I usually don't peel my potatoes, so I'm just not going to peel them for this recipe. And we shall see. I don't think it'll affect it too much, so I wouldn't worry about that. Also, yes, I am cutting these very awfully again. Now, this is a recipe for 4 people. So to me, that means 2 or 3 portions. Now, I know I shouldn't be an advocate for big portion sizes, but it's just how it goes. Okay, so our next step is we want to start heating the pan. I'd say around a medium, doesn't fully specify. And then you want to grab a tablespoon of vegetable oil. And then we're just going to let that heat up for a bit. Okay, so once the pan's heated up a little bit, we just want to start adding our onion puree, if it wants to come out. There we go. And you just want to heat this and reduce it until it's brown for about 10 minutes. So yeah, once those 10 minutes are up, we'll come back. Also, so I've tried the Free From Kitchen chocolate and Tesco's little mini one. I'm also awful. I love chocolate and this just wasn't great. Like, Tesco's don't do many vegan snacks, which is already an issue. But when I was trying this, I could only eat like 2 little squares because the texture and the taste just wasn't it for me. I don't know if people like these or if they think they're great, like fair enough, your taste buds are different. But for me, not a win. I tried the milk and the white chocolate. So let's get back into the actual cooking. So it's been around 10 minutes and I will say it's reduced. It definitely hasn't gone golden, it's more mushy green, which I'm not sure if that's because of the onions I used or what, but we're just going to continue with the recipe and hope for the best. So now you want to add your spices. So we are going to add a teaspoon of turmeric. That should be about it. We want a teaspoon of cumin, and we want a teaspoon of ground coriander. Now I'm not too keen on this lid because it's a bit loose, so we'll try and not pour the whole tub in. There we go. And you just want to stir these in for 2 minutes. Then once these 2 minutes are over, we're going to add our chopped tomatoes into the mixture. Now that it's been around 2 minutes, you just want to pour in your chopped tomatoes and then you want to stir it and just bring it to a simmer. Now I will say this recipe is cheap once you've got all the spices in, just to do it again, because it serves 4, and I think in total with brand new spices this cost me about £10. So if you already have the spices, you're reducing that cost even further by like at least £4. So, and you can always use the rest of the ingredients for other things. So the spinach can be used for other things. Obviously a stack of potatoes, you can use that for chips or wedges or hash browns, jacket potatoes, mash. And then of course lemon, you can start baking, make some pancakes out. It's just not an expensive dish, I won't say. Now I did get chunky tomatoes, which I regret, but that's all I already had. So it's just what we've got to deal with. So we're going to bring that to a simmer and hope that we're doing this correctly. Okay, so now this is simmering, we are going to start by adding our potatoes. And our drained and rinsed chickpeas. Now you do want to keep this tin, as you want to fill this tin halfway with some water and then add this to the mixture. And again, we'll start stirring this in. Now you want to leave this to simmer for around 30 minutes. So once this is all stirred in, we're going to grab a lid and we're just going to let this sit for 30 minutes. So we'll get back after 30 minutes. So this has been simmering for about 28 minutes now. So we're just going to start to add the rest of the ingredients. But first, we should probably make sure the potatoes are actually cooked. So, yep, to be fair, they seem pretty nice and cooked. So what we're going to do is you want to add your spinach. So make sure it's washed. If it doesn't say if it's washed on the bag, just wash it anyway. You want about 100 grams, or basically just as much as you like, and you just want to stir these in until they start to wilt, I think the term is. But please correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am. I think this might be a bit less than 100 grams, but we all know what happens when spinach gets heated up, it kind of just shrinks to nothing. So we'll see how this goes. So we'll just start stirring all this in. So once you're at this stage, you want to add your half a lemon that's been juiced, and then finally a teaspoon of the garam masala. So mine's a bit junky, even though it is a new one. Let's see that. And you just want to give that a nice good stir in. Now this masala usually gets added last, just because it creates a nice aroma, as well as benefiting to the overall taste. Now of course, you can change this recipe up. You can either not add the chickpeas, you could go for something else if you prefer that. If you're not vegan, you can go for some chicken. So yeah, this is pretty much everything. So I'm going to get a portion out, and we'll let the rest sit while it cools down, and I'll stick that in the fridge for tomorrow. So we'll get into that one. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you like this recipe, I'll link it in the description, and if you do try this recipe out or any of my other recipes, feel free to tag me on Instagram or leave a comment with your Instagram and I'll try and find it. And I wish you all the best, and make sure you keep safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So goodbye.